Hi again, this is Sonia, and I am ready to cover the questions for Chapter 8, Human Development. The first question is evaluate Erikson's stages of psychological development and explain the aspects of this theory that seem most convincing. And for this, we have to know that there are 4 stages. The first one is basic trust versus basic mistrust from birth to 1 year. In this period, children develop a sense of trust or mistrust depending on the degree or regularity of care and love they receive from their mother or primary caregiver. Here he considered basic trust as the cornerstone of a healthy personality. Then we have autonomy versus shame and doubt in children ages 1 to 3. In this period, children begin to express their independence, often saying no, and develop their abilities, their physical and mental abilities. Then we have initiative versus guilt from 3 to 6 years old. In this period, children go beyond merely expressing their autonomy and begin to develop initiative. Then we have industry versus inferiority, school-age children ages 6 to puberty. In this period, they begin to enjoy and take pride in making things and doing things. The theory that was most convincing to me was the first one, basic trust versus basic mistrust, because I think that in this period, the influence they get is very powerful on the behavior they develop as an adult. People that don't trust are usually people who are mistreated or have been mistreated as children, or individuals who were neglected. Then the second question is, using Baumrine's categories, classify the parenting style your mother and your father used in rearing you. We have 3 groups: authoritarian parents, who make the rules, expect and question obedience from their children, punish misbehavior, often physically, and value obedience to authority rather than giving a rationale for a rule. Authoritarian parents consider because I said so. Then we have authoritative parents who set high but realistic and reasonable standards. They enforce limits and at the same time encourage open communication and independence. They are willing to discuss rules and supply rationales for them. Knowing why the rules are necessary makes it easier for children to internalize them and to follow them, whether in the presence of their parents or not. Then we have permissive parents. They make a few rules or demands and usually do not enforce those that are made. They allow children to make their own decisions and control their own behavior. Children raised in this manner are the most immature, impulsive, and dependent, and they seem to be the least self-controlled and self-reliant. My parents used a combination of authoritative and permissive parenting style. My mother was more strict but also very caring. She had higher expectations for me and my siblings, but at the same time, she was the one who was on top of everything. On the other hand, my father was more lenient, more liberal, and therefore more permissive. We knew who to go to when we needed or wanted something. Then it asks also to cite examples of techniques they use that support your classification. My mother, for instance, did not allow me to see my boyfriend for 3 months because I was failing in some subjects at school. She hired a tutor to help me with those subjects and made sure I didn't miss any day of tutoring. As a result, I passed with excellent grades and I was able to see my boyfriend again. My father, on the other hand, was a very caring individual, and he still is. That had a positive impact or effect on all of us, because I can say with certainty that his behavior or his way of acting and being with us helped us to become individuals who are not afraid to show emotions. or good emotions also. However, he was not very responsible, and we did not turn to him for important stuff. Letter B, do you agree with Baumrein's conclusions about the effects of that parenting style on children? Why or why not? I definitely agree with his conclusions and description of each category, but I would have to add that we could also find more categories in between. For instance, I would place my mother's attitude between authoritative and liberal, and my father not completely fitting the description of permissive, but neither authoritative. C. Think back to your junior high school and high school years. To what degree did early or late maturation seem to affect how boys and girls were treated by their peers, their parents, and their teachers? Did early or late maturation affect their adjustment? Explain your answer. It's been a long time since I finished high school, and times were very different back then. However, some things continue to be the same. Like, for instance, boys and girls who matured early physically were treated differently than their late maturing peers. Besides obvious advantages because of this early maturation or maturity, they also were expected to behave in a more mature way without thinking that only their bodies had matured early, but not their brains. They were still growing, and they were still at the same level of their late maturing peers. Boys and girls were treated by their peers, parents, or teachers according to their late or early maturation, and this affected their transition and adjustment to this new period in their lives.